Mississippi State. Are they traveling all the way to Arizona State? Look, they played against Mississippi State played against an Arizona team last year, a Noah Fafito this, right? The Jaden Delora era of Arizona football. And they came out and squeaked out a victory, not throwing the ball, but running the ball. Something that I have a feeling that they're going to have a hard time doing against this Arizona State team because Wyoming couldn't do it. Wyoming couldn't do anything, right? And we kind of talked about that a little bit, and maybe in hindsight, the writing was on the wall for that. But yeah, this Arizona State defense, Brian Ward's got these boys buzzing, right? And Mississippi State's got a brand new coaching staff, brand new quarterback, a whole slew of new players. Did they do enough? Right? Did both teams do enough to stitch up their rosters to potentially win this football game? I'm looking at the line right here. It's kind of a little bit bigger than I expected. I didn't really know what I was expecting, but Arizona State's favored by 6 points.
Right. Yeah. Holy cow. Kenny Dillingham, man.
Now that home, here's what made it justifiable though for me though. When I looked at those two teams, maybe this is just an overreaction for me last week. I saw these teams pretty equally, right, going into the season. I would have said it was probably Arizona
Big
State
home.
maybe favored by one, pick 'em game. So you're basically telling me this is like a field goal game at a neutral site. All right, I'll believe that, right? Yeah, very very interesting game for both these teams. Both these teams have a chance to start out 2-0, and I think Lord knows that both these teams need as many wins as they can get. As I don't anticipate either of these teams making a bowl game. Could totally be wrong about that. I think these are two good coaches. We talked about the Jeff Levy hiring and how, very good for Mississippi State because in a program like that, you kind of need a really strong offense to kind of offset some of the lack of talent. And Arizona State, you and I both love Kenny Dillingham and what he's doing. It's just going to take some time. So yeah, I mean, I'm this game very much intrigues me. So what are you looking at when you're looking at this game?
Obviously, I mean, it starts when Mississippi State has the football. Like, how does Blake Shapen look? He looked good last week and in the spring game, but he was their leading rusher. And I know it's
Yeah,
Eastern Kentucky, and they spread the ball around like Kevon Lee and Devon Booth from Utah State played well, and Johnny Daniels got in. It was a blowout, right? So, like, you're going to do what you're going to do. Not going to take too much from that, but obviously, you're going to need to run the football against Arizona State. That's where I see the weakness being because I look at their secondary, and dare I say, I kind of like it. Now, yes, are their cornerbacks potentially vulnerable, but I do like their safeties. I do like their nickels there and be able to play pretty darn well against this, obviously Jeff Levy, Blake Shapen offense from Mississippi State. The thing where I want to see more and I'm still nervous about because I think Wyoming is one of the worst offenses in the FBS, especially outside of Laramie. I mean, I do not they did not impress me at all. And I don't see the bodies. I don't see the talent on the team. I just don't. And you're bringing a ton of transfers on your defense line. So obviously there was a hole there, right? So there was a need that you wanted to fill. How well did you get it? How many guys did you hit on? How many guys are ready to play, in week 2 at home against Mississippi State? We'll see. I think we'll learn a lot about both these teams, early in these coaches' tenures. Then obviously Dillingham has a year ahead of Levy, but both these games I think are super important. You look at Mississippi State and what they can do. Their eyes lit up when they saw Florida just quit. Maybe not quit, just get buried by Miami, right? To put it lightly. And you see their schedule, and you have Eastern Kentucky, which you won, Arizona State, Toledo, and Florida. And you're sitting there and you're not counting wins, but you're like, damn, man, 4-0 seems really, really realistic. And all that leaves is Arkansas and UMass to get to a bowl game. And boy, would that be a success, I think, in year 1 for Jeff Levy. I think
yeah,
there's a ton of urgency in this football game. The thing is, you are replacing a ton on the offensive side. And is it going to be ready to go on the road? How well can they communicate? I do think it helps that you have the helmet communications. Yes, obviously, Arizona State, they're going to have the home field advantage, but I don't quite know if Tempe and Mountain America Stadium is going to be that rowdy of an environment to be able to make a major difference in this football game, to make it really hard on Blake Shapen and to have them be able to go in there and have success. With that being said, I just trust Arizona State just a little bit more, especially at home, than Mississippi State. I do think it will be a close game though. So I'm in the middle of here, maybe soft and whatnot, but I think Arizona State wins but Mississippi State covers here. In a close game, I trust Kenny Dillingham, although you've got that young true freshman quarterback, man. That could worry me. But the difference here, I think, will be Cam Scatabo and what Arizona State's can do committing to run the football. That's what they have to do this week.
Well, I look at Mississippi State, some of the injuries to their skill positions, right? Kelly Akari, injured, right? And Jeff Levy, here's what he said. He said he's getting closer and closer. We need to be patient with him. Hopeful, hopeful for him to have a good week and create some confidence for himself as much as anything, but not ready to say he's going to be available yet. That leads me to believe that he's not going to. And he did not give an update on Corey Ellington, right, who had a boot on his right foot on the sideline. That's one of their starting cornerbacks. Or sorry, starting safety. And he's a very good football player. I think those two players missing those guys, and you didn't really see it when you played against Eastern Kentucky, right? But I think having those two guys is so important in a game like this where just the margins might be that much smaller. I think I'm going to lay him with Arizona State. Can you believe that? I think
Uh,
that's crazy. I think that's crazy, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to lay it with Arizona. And I think that this will be a good game, but I think Arizona will cover the 6. I just not ready to trust Mississippi State yet. Here's the thing, though. Like, I have such a small sample size for both these teams. Now, sample size that I have of Arizona State, I feel better about. I like the way Sam Leavitt played. I like the way that they ran the ball. I like the way that they played defense, particularly in that front seven. And I really, it's hard to say, but I think right now, sitting here, if I'm talking about a coaching edge, I think I'm a slight lean to Arizona State right now, and I could be proven wrong for sure because I do think Mississippi State has a very underrated staff, but I think Arizona State is that much more underrated. Like Marcus Arroyo, they're fixing that run game. Brian Ward is your defensive coordinator. Kenny Dillingham himself is kind of an offensive guy. So I
Hines
like
Ward.
what?
Hines Ward is the wide
Yeah,
receiver coach
yeah,
there.
yeah. I just I feel a little bit better about this Arizona State coaching staff. And I don't know if I should, but I just do. So I'm gonna trust Arizona State here. Not a bettable game at all for me. If anything, I don't know. I don't know. Even if I was looking at a total, I don't know if this is gonna be a high scoring game, if this is gonna be a low scoring game.
I think
Last
if you ask me in a couple days, like Friday night, like I might even reconsider. Like it's to me, it's kind of that close.
yeah.
It's just how I feel right now, especially with the Ellington news and obviously Kelly Akara, Shaman
Sorry.
Meteor, right, the tight end coming over from Colorado, but really was at Cincinnati before that. It's a good football player, man. I think he can be a matchup, especially if there's no Corey Ellington. And you're also, remember you're replacing Nathaniel Watson and Jet Johnson. Like those are guys that could be matching up against him. And yeah, that's another way to exploit and to get your young quarterback, Sam Leavitt, comfortable. We talked about ways to help young quarterbacks feel comfortable, get in rhythms. It is establishing a rushing game, staying ahead of the chains by doing that, and big body tight ends, athletic tight ends that can run after catch, that can create separation, give you big targets that you can't miss these throws. They're wide open with a big catch radius. So yeah, hopefully Meta can do that. Yeah, he scored a touchdown last week. He's pretty good doing it. So obviously hoping to continue that trend for the Sun Devils.